SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
You're listening to Sports Talk Mississippi On Demand, presented by Pearl River Resort. Escape to Choctaw, Mississippi and enjoy world-class gaming, the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and Geyser Falls Water Park. Escape to Pearl River Resort.
Sports Talk Mississippi is on the air. Sports Talk Mississippi is powered by C-Spire. Power your home or business with C-Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C-Spire. C-Spire Fiber powers SuperTalk Mississippi. To the junction, in the Grove, and to the top. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. On your radio and in the game, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Here in a second, Brian Hadad's going to realize that the show has started. And he'll get this whatever echo's going on. Are we good?
We are good.
There he is. I'm trying to get your attention. I was like, hey,
I didn't have there was this other one, yeah.
I'm sitting here, I am yelling at you. Everybody watching on Super Talk TV is going to be like, what was wrong with Borkey?
Send me a text.
I didn't have time. I was trying to, it doesn't matter. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I am Michael Borkey. He's Brian Hadad. The echo does not exist. We are ready to go. On this Tuesday, we have crowned a national champion. And there's so much to talk about with last night's game. One, just the game. It was fun, especially in the fourth quarter. A familiar ending for one Carson Beck. I've got a stat for you that's going to kind of blow your mind on that. Fernando Mendoza has his, not Heisman moment, because he already won the Heisman, but boy, did he put an exclamation point on that with a touchdown run. That was incredible. Got some audio for you about that. But then there's the next thing. What does this mean for college football? And what does the Big Ten's three-peat mean for the SEC? Is it the dominating conference that it used to be? Spoiler, no, it is not. So we will talk about all of that. We got As the Portal Turns. We'll talk baseball with Jacob Rudner. We've got a Lines Tuesday. There's 2 NFL playoff games coming up on Sunday. You've got hoops tonight. Suddenly a big opportunity for Ole Miss in Oxford. All that and more coming up with you.
Another day, another loaded show here on Sports Talk Mississippi. We are glad you're joining us here in the Pearl River Resort Studios. Talk about loaded. Loaded with entertainment is what's happening at Pearl River Resort. Doesn't matter what you like to do. We can make it happen for you at Pearl River Resort. You can have a great weekend any old time you want to. Just head to Pearl River Resort. C-Spire text line open to you at 601-879-4395. The best teams know how to get even better. That's why C-Spire constantly enhances their wireless, fiber internet, and business solutions for you. Visit cspire.com today. C-Spire, inspired by you.
Not one person surprised by the result last night. Was a good game there for a little while, but just your reaction. What did you think about what you saw last night? Indiana winning the national championship.
A little closer game than I thought, but the physicality was certainly there. I saw a tweet today that is that the most famous, the most impactful punt block in the history of college football. You know, old timers remember back in the Iron Bowl, the punt Bama punt game. But that pales in comparison. That play won the national title.
It did
for Indiana, a punt block. And you know the Wavos on Signetti to go for it on fourth and 5 to run a quarterback draw, to run the old Mullen, the QB draw. Let's go, and of course for that you know, in a game where I didn't really have any emotional attachment, that play fired me up. Watching him drag tacklers into the end zone, I was like, okay, that was awesome. And I don't, you know, I feel like everybody's going to overreact and talk about, you know, it's a new day in college football. And it certainly has some new day, you know, there's some things to talk about from that angle, right? But I'm not going to sit here and act like next year the Final Four is going to be Indiana, Oregon State, Arizona, and Vanderbilt, right? I mean, the powers are still powers. Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, those schools are always going to be there. But today was a day where if you're an athletic director, you got to look at your coach and go, Why can't we do that? And if the answer is I don't have a good enough coach, well, that's something you're going to have to address, because Indiana proved that in this day and age of college football, you can get a ticket to the dance, and if you're good enough, you can make it all the way. So really fun game. The fourth quarter delivered a lot of drama, and good end of the college football season.
And that is the message that it sends. Indiana is a bit unique, right? So Indiana winning this national championship does not mean that, like you said, Oregon State suddenly a title contender next year, because you clearly have a bit of a unicorn at head coach. This guy's different. He's unique. Kirk Cignetti is the best coach in college football today. I think that's inarguable, considering what he's done and specifically where he's done it. So not everybody's going to get a team full of 3 stars and make them a national champion. That is a unique thing for a reason. Mm-hmm. But it does send a message, because it is something that we've been talking about for a long time. Parity has come to college football. Mm-hmm. It was obvious, although some people tried to ignore it. The talent is more spread out than it's ever been, and it provides you the ability, if you're efficient, obviously if you hire the right coach, but if you're aligned, efficient, well-funded, and evaluate well, you don't need the brand. And that's the message that this sends truly in college football, because there's been this they're like hanging on to the concept of blue bloods. Frankly, you saw it happen in this state. Mm-hmm. Listen to Lane Kiffin talk about LSU. He thinks that he needed brand to win, that the thing that was holding him back was brand. Mm-hmm. I can't win here is something that was said privately. I can't win here. That's what he thought. Clearly, that is not true anymore. And so people that cover college football, fans of college football, need to wake up to the fact that you don't need a 100,000-seat stadium. You didn't need a Heisman Trophy in 2007. You didn't need your 1998 team to win a national championship in order to get great players and win championships. That is the message that has been sent across college football. If you're Ole Miss, and look, Ole Miss was in the semifinal, they're operating as if they are aware that they can do it. I mean, they're about to sign the number 2 portal class in the country. Player retention was very good. Everybody else that is a non-blue blood, that is a non-traditional power, that may not have won a lot in this era for various reasons, that there's absolutely no excuse now for your program to not be able to elevate itself, because there used to be a ceiling on non-traditional powers. And if there wasn't one, it took you forever to build it, like Dabo at Clemson. Clemson had a championship in the past. It took him years to get Clemson competing for championships. Kirk Cignetti took the worst program in college football to a national championship in 2. He's lost 2 games in 2 years at Indiana. Think about that.
It's a question that's that you have to ask your sitting head coach right now. You have to look at your head coach. You know, it's one thing like Ole Miss Golding, right? It's year 1 for him.
Yes.
Right? You're not arguing about it. But everybody else, if you've got a coach who's been there for a little while, and what I would say let's just look at it from the in-state perspective of Mississippi State, right? If I'm Zach Selman, I'm looking at Levy and like, look, man, I don't expect you to win the national title next year. I really don't. But there's no excuse to not be a winning program.
None.
There's no excuse for it.
None.
Whatsoever. And so if you can't elevate us to that point, then we got to make a decision. If he can go from where Indiana was when he took over to in the playoff national champions in 2 years, there's no excuse for you to not be able to say, well, from where I came in year 3, I could win 8 games. I feel like I'm being generous.
Yeah.
With what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking you to win half as many games as Cignetti did this season in your 3rd year. And that's the conversation that, look, it changes school to school, right? DeBoer in year 3, Vern can say, like, you need to win the national title or at least be in the game. Kirby Smart.
Or, by God, have one of the best teams in the country and get to the semi and lose on a last-second field goal or something.
Mike Norvell, back in the playoffs. No excuses. No reason not to be back in the playoffs. And that's the conversations that need to be had across this country today by athletic directors.
See, Marty says, but you need a few billionaires in your corner. Indiana has Cuban now. They did not have Cuban until now.
They did not build this team on outbidding people. They did not.
No. And maybe you've got a new formula. Obviously, quarterback play is vital, and veteran quarterback play is vital. Age. Frankly, that was Ole Miss's biggest strength this year. Had a bunch of old guys. And not like 27-year-olds, right?
Yeah,
I mean
22, 23.
Guys that
seniors. That's what used to win in college football was guys you kept in your program from day one, and by the time they were seniors, they were ready to go. Well, now you're just getting seniors from all over the place and putting them together. It's the same deal, though. You've got guys who played college football.
Yeah. You had a guy on Indiana's team last night that caught a pass from Trevor Lawrence at Clemson.
Yeah.
The veteran piece of that team, I mean, that would explain all of the lack of mistakes and everything. The text line is hopping right now. We'll get to a lot of your messages. We'll keep talking about this game. It says a lot about a lot. It says a lot about your program and your ability to compete at the highest level. It says a lot about the changing landscape in terms of conference dominance. We'll talk about all that and more with you. Just getting started. Sports Talk Mississippi on this Tuesday.
Talk Mississippi continues.
Let's get to some of your messages before we continue on. Indiana winning the national championship over Miami last night. Lucas says this job by Cignetti has been phenomenal. I'd compare it to Brad Stevens when he was at Butler. Only knock on the comparison is Butler didn't win the Natty on its second year playing. Yeah, there's another one. Somebody says, Brian, you do a good job. Not sure about the other guy.
He's talking about you.
I know. That's not very nice.
Rough.
Isn't it funny that last night's officials could actually see pass interference and face mask offenses? They got a face mask call correct. There's a few PIs where it's like, oh, what do you guys not see here? I don't think officiating was necessarily the story, though, in last night's game anyway. Andy wanting to know if Cignetti really interviewed at State. I mean, hey, Dad, no, right? That answer is no.
Don't believe he interviewed, no.
That's just Twitter being Twitter.
What I would say is there might have been like a flicker of interest, but, I mean, I obviously State whiffed on that, but he never came to Starkville for an interview, no. Yeah.
Had they not blocked that punt, does he still go for it on fourth down? It's a good question.
Probably not. I don't know though.
The absolute guts on Cignetti though. 4th and 5, ball on the 13-yard line,
and you've got the lead.
You've got a 3-point lead, 9:27 to go in the ball game, and you did this.
Got to get to the 8. He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and goal. Diving toward the end zone. Touchdown! That's where he won the Heisman Trophy.
Just pulling guys into the end zone with him. It was pretty impressive.
He took a huge hit, spun out of it, dove into the end zone. And that sequence, too, the going for it on fourth down, the guts to do that. And never hesitated either, by the way. I don't know if you've seen the clip from the sideline. It was, go for it. Go. We're going. Like, no hesitation from the head coach at all. The will of Mendoza to do that. But the difference between those two teams last night, you might think I'm crazy for saying this. I think Miami had better players. I think they had better athletes.
Well, yeah, I mean, the blue chip index would tell you that.
And I think you could see that in the game. Indiana didn't screw up.
I mean, you think about like talent, right? Mendoza's probably going to be the first pick in the draft. Okay. Nothing about Fernando. I mean, look, The intangibles, absolutely. And maybe that'll be enough, but I don't look at him and just think can't miss first pick in the draft guy.
Well, he's got all that other stuff though.
He does.
He's got the stuff that have.
It's incredible that he's going to the Raiders.
I
keep shaking my head this is the Raiders. Kenny Stabler and all the characters they've had, and they're going to get the most white bread guy that ever lived.
And Indiana wasn't perfect last night for their standard. That face mask penalty was a bad one.
They had a couple of mistakes.
They had a false start where they could have put the game away. Instead, Miami got a chance there at the end after that false start. But the fake punt is a perfect encapsulation of why one of those teams won the championship and why one didn't. Miami got lazy on that punt. It got blocked because of, just lack of attention to detail. And that cost them the game. Indiana was a better coached, better prepared, more fundamentally sound football team. And here's another stat for you just for the heck of it. Indiana has not lost a fumble in its final 1,047 offensive plays. Its only fumble of the season was the first quarter of week 1. That's the only time they fumbled this season.
The first play of the season for Indiana was a 75-yard touchdown run by Old Dominion. Yeah. They were down 7-0, and you're like, okay, Indiana's one and done. That was a fun story last year. Nope.
But that's the kind of stuff that's working now in the NFL playoffs. You would talk about Mendoza. What he does so well, on top of being clearly a good locker room guy, a good leader, those kind of things that NFL teams look for in quarterbacks. Because if you're an elite athlete but your team hates you, you're not going to win in the NFL. But what he doesn't do is screw up. He knows exactly where he's going with the football every time. And he's accurate as well. Carson Beck, for another comparison. Carson Beck, people would say, was more talented than Fernando Mendoza. Carson Beck lost 6 games as a starter in college. 6. 4 of them ended in interception when his team was driving to win the game.
Not great. Ole Miss fans banging their keyboards and punching
I know,
air
right?
Now. They're punching air right now. Like, why not us?
The one time 4 of his 6 losses ended with him throwing an interception as his team was driving to win the game, and you saw it like with Josh Allen. What cost the Bills the game in Denver? Allen made mistakes. Bo Nix didn't. In the NFL, all you have to do, you got to be more than that, but to be a great quarterback in the NFL, you don't have to be the tallest or the fastest or have the strongest arm or anything. Know where the football's going.
Being the most
be
accurate.
Well studied.
Look at Drew Brees.
Be accurate and don't make mistakes. That's Fernando Mendoza. Somebody says even Andy and Ari from On3 mentioned State is a school that can no longer say we can't do this.
Correct. No school. No power
None.
school. Like, look, Akron can't say it, okay? Akron's not going to win the national title. And I say that, and Joe Moorhead will get them turned around. But if you're in the power, if you're in the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, or the ACC right now, you have zero excuses for not being able to get to this point. Because Indiana did it, and they were the worst team in the history of this great sport.
Somebody says, real question for Hadad. There were some of us who wanted State to go after Cignetti. Is there any regret not actively pursuing him 2 years ago now? All my State friends said he was too old and couldn't replicate. Hadad, I was here. You were obviously in it more than me. I don't remember a soul bringing up Kirk Cignetti besides Kelso saying, don't get Kirk Cignetti.
There's some message board chatter. It wasn't like this groundswell movement. Is there buyer's regret? Well, how could there not be? He just won a national title. Levy is 7-17. Yeah, little buyer's regret on that one.
But it's not like
it came down to the two of them and State went Levy over Cignetti. It's not like that happened.
And it's not like he was a super hot candidate either. He ended up at Indiana.
Exactly. This is the same cycle where Alabama, a place he coached, didn't look at him
at all.
Right. I mean, that's a better question. Does Alabama regret hiring DeBoer over Cignetti right
over
now?
A former Saban assistant?
Yeah. I mean,
That one would have made more sense.
It would have.
So I get that the internet creates chatter, but I don't think that it's fair to Zach Selman to do the revisionist history on Kirk Cignetti.
Right.
Frankly, it's John Sumrall. That's who, if you want to compare coaches, it's what Sumrall does at Florida versus
Sumrall
what Levy does at
was a
Mississippi
more realistic
State.
for State. Yeah, agreed.
They could have gotten him if he didn't have one thing that he was asking for. That State was right not to give to him, by the way. That's not a hindsight is 2020 thing. They were correct if the rumors are true about what he was asking for, not giving that to him. It was the right call. It hurts bad that Kentucky has fallen into we don't care about football anymore at all, or fell into we don't care about football anymore at all mode for a little bit.
Yeah, it is what it is there, but at the same time, and we saw some preseason polls come out today, and obviously they're super early, and we don't know for sure who's going to be where. The rosters aren't all set up, but who's on top? Ohio State, Texas, Georgia. Mm-hmm. That's something that's going to take years. You're going to have 2 or 3 Indianas before people stop just defaulting to those teams on the top.
But those teams still aren't stockpiling talent the way they used to.
Well,
Ohio State lost a starting offensive lineman to Kentucky.
You're correct. But at the same time, those 3 teams probably they have consistency at coach and consistency at the quarterback position. Sayin, Manning, Stockton's not a superstar or anything like that, but you don't trust him. You trust him to not lose games.
Yeah.
Sayin and Manning are your potential superstars.
Paul says, so you're saying State losing seat in LSU had nothing to do with brand or money? It's all on Levy, supposedly offered the same money. It's program trajectory.
Yeah, who said that it's all on Levy? He obviously feels he can win championships at LSU, but at the same time, he probably feels like he'll get better development and better coaching at LSU. I would. If I had to choose between Phil Lodeholt and just about anybody, I would go with just about anybody.
Somebody says Indiana's coach is overrated. Let's see him win 6 consecutive national championships with Mississippi State like I have on NCAA Football 2025. When you put it that way.
Yeah, there you go.
Sports Talk Mississippi. We'll keep talking national title when we come back.
From the flatlands of Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi.
Every minute worth waiting for.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi, back with you here on a Tuesday afternoon following the end of the college football season. Always a somber day here on Sports Talk. Sports Talk Mississippi is brought to you in part by AgriGold. AgriGold believes that progress in the field starts with the seed and the people who plant it. That's why AgriGold focuses 100% on seed, delivering trusted genetics and solutions to help you get more out of every acre. Contact Kerry Baker today at 662-836-7417. He's your local AgriGold representative to learn more. Or visit agrigold.com to explore seed solutions and agronomy resources. Plant your legacy today with AgriGold. People were wondering, is that really relevant to me? If I could tell you how many people send us a picture working on a tractor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those people are listening and they're like, what was that number again?
Somebody says there's something to mistake-free football beating more talented teams. I can't tell you how many times I've seen State beat themselves. Nobody beats State like State beats State, he says.
But it's a bigger picture. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't make mistakes, that puts a ton of pressure on the other team. And if you're not turning the ball over, if you don't commit silly penalties, if you don't run the wrong route, if you don't miss a protection, it's hard to beat football teams that do that. It doesn't really matter the talent. That's a great equalizer too. If you play mistake-free football, a good team that plays mistake-free can beat a great, talented team that makes mistakes.
And that's exactly what happened. Indiana clearly has great ability to identify talent, but man, you could see it last night. Which team was more disciplined? Which team was smarter? Which team didn't? I mean, again, Indiana played poor in terms of they had an inopportune false start. They had a dropped pass. It's like, okay, who is this Indiana team that suddenly is human after all? But one team was a heck of a lot more disciplined than the other. Mm-hmm. And as a result, they won. And then we get this from Buckeye Steve. How many years before the SEC becomes irrelevant again? As if that was a thing that ever happened. Haven't made the championship game the last 3 years. Well, they most certainly have not made the national championship in each of the last 3 years. They clearly have not won it. 3 different Big Ten teams have won the national championship in 3 consecutive years. The SEC's claim to the top, indisputed top of college football is dead until proven otherwise.
Oh, no question. You can't argue that.
Look at the top 20 draft prospects, too.
Yeah.
The SEC's not going to dominate the first round of the draft this year either.
No. And part of that is there's a lot of good young talent in the SEC. Like next year in the SEC, you'll see a big big thing. But yeah, and this is it's not the new normal, because if next year Texas or Georgia or Alabama or even LSU could win the national title, and you're like, okay, it's not a huge surprise if they do it, but the SEC is down right now. It's definitely down. I mean, Mississippi State was not a good football team, and they were 5-7 on the verge of being 8-4. Now, granted, they were also on the verge of being 3-9, but they were close to some wins against teams that we would say were pretty good.
Yeah. The league has lost its dominance.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And the next layer to that, I think it's abundantly clear now that the league made a mistake going to non-conference games. I used the phrase on Twitter, the SEC played itself, because nobody was forcing you to go to non-conference games, number one. And this is not why they won the championship, right? It's not. But 3 consecutive Big Ten teams have won the national title. In 2023, Michigan's non-conference games, ECU, UNLV, and Bowling Green. 2024, Ohio State's non-conference games, Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall. Indiana's non-conference games this year, Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State.
Hey, Kennesaw State won 10 games.
Hey, that was a good Kennesaw State team. But
go Owls.
The SEC, for no reason other than money, so the money better be great, but they weren't forced to go to non-conference games. They have chosen to do so, which adds 8 more losses to your league. And on top of that, your Power 4 requirement remains. The last 3 national champions did not play schedules like the ones you're going to play next year. And on top of that, Hadad, the SEC didn't get the 16-team playoff that they wanted. They're not going to get that either. So nobody forced them to go to non-conference games. They have added 8 more losses to their league that, again, did not win the national championship, didn't appear in the national championship. Say what you want about bowl season. The SEC went 2-8. They went 2-8 in bowl season.
It's a shame we blocked that one USM fan. He'd be living it up.
I know,
this
right?
Conversation.
But so you're already struggling, losing your grip on your dominance of the sport. The playing field has never been more level than it is right now. And you added losses to your league, 8 of them. For what? Money? That money better be worth it. Because if I asked every fan listening right now, what would you rather have? An additional conference game or a better chance to make the playoff? What is their answer going to be? I want to make the playoff. I watch other teams do it, and I want to be a part of it. Ask an Ole Miss fan how intoxicating the playoff run was this year. Ask a State fan how badly you want to participate in that. Well, Greg Sankey in the SEC has made that harder for the league to get there. Remember, Alabama and Oklahoma both made the playoff barely. Barely. You've got 8 more losses to add to your league, and you didn't get the 16 team that you wanted. The SEC screwed up here. They made a mistake. They made it harder on themselves when they're already losing their grip. That's a miscalculation from the league office doing what they did. Unless the few $1 million more a year is worth fewer teams making the playoff to you. Which that answer is no, by the way.
Can't imagine that it is, yeah.
What a screw-up.
Is what it is.
You're getting alphaed by the Big Ten at every turn right now. They're better than you on the field. Yeah. They're controlling the playoff discussion. They're laughing as you add an extra conference game. Think about how the Big Ten's feeling right now.
Oh, they're happy as a clam. They're getting everything they want.
Meanwhile, in the SEC, you've got, I mean, I don't think this offseason's been a banner offseason for the SEC either. But off the field even. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if soul-searching's the right word. I don't know. But the leadership in the league office needs to wake up to what's happened over the last few years. You've fallen behind.
I'm trying to think of what is the solution for the SEC? I don't know what it is. They're not going to go back to playing 8 games. I think it's impossible. It's kind of like a side-scrolling video game. Once you go forward, there's no going back. So where do you go from here?
Somebody says, are we really going to pretend like the Big Ten has the depth of the SEC? Did you watch the postseason?
I mean, Iowa beat Vanderbilt. Illinois beat Tennessee. Texas did beat Michigan, but that's Michigan. I don't know.
Michigan after a fire coach, and the game went down to the wire.
Yeah. If Sharon Moore's there, maybe that game's a little different. Indiana destroyed Alabama. Yeah.
It wasn't close.
Missouri lost to Virginia. So, yeah, we will make that. The SEC's depth is
where is the depth?
Is it?
You can't watch what's happening. There's fewer Northwesterns in the SEC. Maybe the very bottom in the SEC is still better. The very, very bottom is still better. I'll give you that.
Is Northwestern better than Arkansas?
Arkansas, I think, would have beaten Northwestern this year, but how can I even comfortably say that? What evidence do I have to point to? Arkansas lost to Memphis.
Wait, Northwestern was in a bowl game this year, were they not? Yeah, they went 7-6.
So who's the very bottom of the Big
Ten?
Purdue. Yeah, they were stinky.
Arkansas
was stinky.
Arkansas probably beats Purdue.
Yeah, Taylor Green's pretty could have.
Yeah.
But they lost to Memphis.
They did. But Memphis would beat Purdue too.
And listen to the conversation we're having though. That's the very bottom. The very bottom of the SEC might be better.
You could say. Look at State. State beat a good Arizona State team, a good team, a decent team, middle of the pack in the Big 12, but lost to a middle of the pack ACC team.
Somebody says what the average SEC fan wants to see is less powder puff games. Okay, that's fine. Don't be mad when you're left out of the playoff then.
And they're not seeing less FCS games. He adds that addendum there. That's not happening. You're still keeping the FCS game. You're losing a Sun Belt game, a MAC game, somewhere like that.
And that's fine. If you want that, just don't be mad when the playoff selection happens and your 9-3 Alabama gets left out this time.
Well, I won't be mad about that.
I know, but
I'll laugh. But
don't be mad when the SEC gets fewer teams next year because they added 8 more losses to the schedule. You didn't prove it on the field. You're not going to get the benefit of the doubt anymore, and you're going to have more losses. We can't argue about hypotheticals when the football happened and the SEC lost. We'll be back.
Check this out. Sports Talk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back. Sports Talk Mississippi. Michael Borkey and Brian Hadad with you. Somebody says the talent is spread more evenly across the SEC than ever before, whereas the Big Ten can acquire the top talent in its top teams. That did not play itself out on the field, though. A 4-loss Big Ten team lined up with, across the field from Vanderbilt, a 10-win SEC team with the runner-up in the Heisman Trophy, and beat them. On the field. That happened. Tennessee was a playoff team last year. Tennessee's supposed to, all this talent, right? Man. And they lined up in a bowl game and got beat by a Big Ten team. The ACC was a joke. Virginia being in the conference championship game was a joke. They lined up with and beat Missouri. Oh, but there were opt-outs. Illinois had opt-outs. A handful of their best players didn't play in the game. They still found a way to beat an SEC team. It's hard to ignore the results on the field. 3 years ago, the results on the field were SEC dominance. That was the results on the field. The league was dominant in every facet. It's not now. At all. Things have changed. The league needs to wake up. The league office needs to wake up.
I don't know, man. It won't. Doesn't seem like it's going to. I mean, it really is something to see, the SEC and Greg Sankey, who've been so savvy through the years in the way they've built this conference into the billion-dollar business and powerhouse that it has become. And then they just lost it here. They've made some bad decisions. And
bad decisions.
Honestly, I wonder if we're going to look back in a few years and say, the decision to bring Texas and Oklahoma in was a bad decision. Because it sparked the Big Ten, first off, to bring in Oregon, which is, that Oregon in and of itself is a huge addition. But you destroyed the Pac-12, which was a competitor for your entertainment dollar. Mm-hmm.
Washington and USC are big additions, too. Those are good programs.
And UCLA, they have the potential to be good in football, but they're also good in basketball and baseball. Then you have, that forces the ACC to make all these decisions that don't make any sense. And you created a playoff where, in a 12-team or even a 14-team SEC, the SEC is in a much stronger position than they are in 16 when you have so many games. You have so many conference schedules where we aren't playing the teams in your conference as much. Now they tried to fix that, but they could have fixed it with the 8-game schedule too. They could have easily found a way to make it, hey, you're going to play all the teams in a 4-year span. But that's part of the problem is, the ACC suffered from that this year. That Duke, the way their schedule was working out, they didn't play Miami. They didn't play. I don't think they played Virginia. They didn't play the good teams in the conference, but they did enough. That's just not how conferences are supposed to work.
Somebody says, I don't necessarily disagree, but it's very hard to judge competitive balance off of exhibition games that no one is motivated to play in. Well, why is it only the SEC that's not motivated to play in them?
You're not wrong.
But on top of that, this year you saw it play out in the Rose Bowl. You saw Indiana just absolutely wallop Alabama. You saw Miami be physically better than Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl. And then what about last year? What about last year's playoff? Was Tennessee not motivated to play at Ohio State in the playoff when they got beat 42-17?
And someone's trying to mention
what about
opt-outs.
The Sugar Bowl?
Somebody's mentioned opt-outs. Everybody's having opt-outs. It's not just the SEC.
Illinois had opt-outs. Their best players opted out of the game.
Yeah, but they won. Everybody has opt-outs. This is not just an SEC problem.
What about last year's Sugar Bowl when Notre Dame beat Georgia? What about the Cotton Bowl last year when Ohio State beat Texas? The SEC's playoff wins this year were only against each other and Tulane.
Yeah.
Alabama beat Oklahoma. Ole Miss beat Georgia. Ole Miss beat Tulane. That was the SEC's playoff wins after what I told you a year ago. It's happening right in front of your eyes. We can't ignore it anymore. It's the portal. Parity is everywhere, someone says. The depth of the SEC has been destroyed. I agree.
Right. And there was a time where a lot of starters across this country would have been on the bench at Alabama, at Georgia, at LSU, at Texas. But now those guys, they come in, and then year one, year two, they're like, hey, I'm not playing. And the other team, that team is continuing to recruit guys of my stature. I got to get out. I got to find a place to play. Mm-hmm. That's great because we get more talented players on the field, and other teams have a chance to get those guys. But it has definitely affected, there was a time, think about that 21 Georgia team. I mean, I bet you if you go back, there's probably not anybody lower than a top 300 player in the country, and they're too deep.
It's not the case anymore.
Now it's not the case anymore. Simple as that. So it is a new day in college football. How new is it? We'll just have to keep finding out together. When we come back, we're going to change gears. Maybe some baseball, maybe some basketball. We'll do that in just a minute. Sports Talk Mississippi with you on a Tuesday.
You're hearing Sports Talk Mississippi.
What? This is so
Awesome on Super Talk Mississippi.
Last Sunday morning, the sunshine felt like rain. Week before, they all seemed the same.
Sports Talk Mississippi, back with you here on a Tuesday. What's up on Sports Talk Mississippi today? In about 15 minutes or so, we're going to talk to Jacob Rudner from Baseball America. They put out their preseason top 25 yesterday. All three Mississippi schools represented in that one, so let's get his thoughts on that. Plus, I think we should go, I think when he gets done, Borkey, we should compare the polls, the D1 poll and the Baseball America poll. Take a look at both of them, see where the differences are in that. We got some basketball to talk about. Got the lines to cover from tonight's games and, of course, from the NFL playoffs coming up. A lot coming up here on Sports Talk Mississippi. What's up on Sports Talk Mississippi is brought to you by Ag Up. Start the new year with a compact tractor that's a proven performer and get a great deal. You get it all at Ag Up Equipment. Right now, get 0% financing for 48 months on select John Deere 1 through 4 series compact tractors. You can't beat these workhorses or the 0% financing. Stop by your local Ag Up or visit them at agup.com, your down-home dealer. Offer ends 1/31/26. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Tonight, big opportunity for Ole Miss in the Pavilion against Auburn. It's a late one. Get your coffee. 8 o'clock tip-off. Ole Miss hosting Auburn. And it's an interesting Auburn team. Stephen Pearl didn't get off to the best start. But the resume's not particularly bad. Their losses are a 1-point loss to the number one team in the country in Houston. Got smoked by Michigan, but Michigan's in the top 10. Lost at Arizona. Again, got smoked by them too, but that's the number 2 team in the country. Lost to Purdue. Got smoked by them too, but that's a top 10 team in the country. Their SEC losses are at Georgia by 4. Good team. A&M by 2, one they want back. At Missouri, good team. But they have wins here over St. John's. Beat them by double digits. They beat NC State, a team that Ole Miss got handled by. Beat them by double digits. Beat Arkansas badly. It's a good Arkansas team. It's an interesting matchup. A winnable game for Ole Miss for sure with the way they're playing lately, but don't let their record and their conference record fool you. This still is an Auburn team that is very talented.
This is a game for Ole Miss, excuse me, where if they win it, you say, okay, now they're for real, right? Okay, they're off and running. They're going to have a chance here when we get to the end of March the way they're playing, right? They're going to find some more wins, and because the SEC is not what it was last year. There are a lot of winnable games coming up. If they lose, you go back to sort of wait and see with them, right? You're like, all right, well, they had a little 3-game winning streak, but now they got to find some more wins. But if they win tonight, they make it 4 in a row. They're 4-2, and they're in great shape.
I'm concerned about Keyshawn Hall. Dude's a stud. He's their leading scorer, but he's a big, too, and he can make outside shots. He's going to be a very difficult defend. Apparently gets in foul trouble. He likes to foul. And so I would be curious to see what Ole Miss offensively tries to throw at him to possibly get him into some foul trouble and play him off the floor. Mm-hmm. Averages 20 points per game, makes 40% of his threes. But away from Auburn, he only makes 25% of his threes and only 34% of his shots. Averages 15 points per game versus 23 points per game at home.
The splits there are quite different, yeah.
His 3-point percentage is literally double in Auburn Arena versus on the road. It's 51% at home, 25% on the road. That's
crazy. That's a really big difference.
Wild, but he's a good player. They've got a lot of them, but just again, I'm curious to see if A.J. Storr can keep this up. I'm curious to see how Ole Miss is going to try to defend him with, Dia and Scott and so on, and try to figure out that. They're going to have better shooting nights from Patton Pinkins. I know he was the hero in Starkville, but he's going to have to shoot better. Travis Perry off the bench is going to have to shoot better if they're going to win this game, because you're not making 10% of your threes and winning tonight. I'm very confident in saying that they're going to have to shoot the basketball better than they did Saturday if they're going to come away with a win here.
I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that you can't shoot the way you shot against Mississippi State and hope to win against Auburn. You've got to be better. There's no getting around that.
Auburn, by the way, a 3.5-point favorite. The odds makers have not loved Ole Miss. I guess they've been an underdog in all three of their wins.
I mean, I get it.
I get it, though.
So, I mean, two of them on the road. And then who was the other? Missouri. Missouri was 2-0 coming off a win at Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why Ole Miss was. Yeah, I get it.
Going into tonight, the net, Ole Miss is at 79 in the net. Auburn is 36. So not a quad one. It could turn into one, but
it could. But it's more than likely going to end up just being a quad 2 win for Ole Miss, which is fine.
Quad 2 opportunity there. Mississippi State, by the way, now last in the SEC in net at 95.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. They are playing as bad as anybody in the conference right now. LSU had a great non-conference slate. They won a lot of games there, so that's why they're ahead. LSU might be the only team, and LSU's coming off a win. They just beat Missouri as well. So, nothing Mississippi State basketball-wise is talking about, being disappointing is not going to surprise me at this point.
Did I say – I didn't say Keyshawn Murphy. I said Hall. Did I not? The text line saying that I said Keyshawn Murphy. No,
you said Hall.
I said Hall.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Here, I'll see what Keyshawn Murphy's been up to. I know he got hurt. Has he played?
Yeah, he's played.
Oh, because he made that game-winning free throw or three that wasn't.
No, he didn't make it. That's the problem.
Murphy's averaging 10 points per game for Auburn right now. But Auburn as a team doesn't shoot well from beyond the arc, 33% from three. Averages 38 rebounds per game. They're not super impressive on the glass. Assist to turnover ratio is okay, but they average 11 turnovers per game. Ole Miss is a team that's protecting the basketball. There's a chance. I guess every stat comparison tells you the same story that we're saying is Ole Miss has a chance tonight. Mm-hmm. Students are back finally. There is a local bar owner, no free plugs, that is paying for the student section's everything tonight.
Really? Nice. Very nice.
And I think that includes beer for those that are 21 or older. But, yeah, food, drinks, whatever for the student section. One guy covering the tab for the entire student section.
Very nice.
I wish I had that. Well, I mean, if I had that kind of money.
Be lovely.
I'd buy a boat.
Well, you wouldn't be sitting here talking with me right now.
No, I'd have a boat. And especially this time of year, I'd be like in Key West or something.
Yeah.
I'd go to whatever bar Mike Leach was hanging out in.
I forget the name of it. I know what you're talking about, though.
That's where I would spend this time of year if I had that kind of money. And take my private jet to and from whatever sporting events I wanted to go to. Wouldn't stay the night. I would do the flex thing. No, I'm flying in, flying out.
We do a lot of talk on this show about what we would do if we have money. Neither one of us are ever going to get there. I'll just go ahead and, I hate to be the one that disappoints you. I hate to be the one that bothers you or you brings you down, but it's just the fact of life.
Ole Miss was favored against Missouri by 1.5. So there you go.
Okay. I'm surprised by that, to be honest with you.
I'll also be honest with you. I watched the game, but I was a little distracted. The playoffs were going on.
Yeah.
Much better crowd tonight. Again, students back. I think even though it's late, you've given fans something to be excited about. Football's died down some. I'm kind of worried about team travel this weekend, by the way, Hadad.
Yes, I think we're talking about having some bad weather, some potential ice.
Hadad, Snowmageddon is coming, and the forecast continues to get worse for the state of Mississippi. And State's supposed to be at A&M, and Ole Miss is supposed to be at Kentucky. And
now the A&M game is.
Oh no, it's next week. State's off.
No. A&M is Wednesday.
I'm sorry.
State plays Vanderbilt on Saturday.
Ooh, that's not good.
But that's here. It's here in Starkville.
But we're expected to have winter weather like that here, and Nashville's getting like over a foot of snow and ice possible.
It's possible.
Seriously, the model's not good.
Yeah.
We're going to get ice and all kinds of crap. So this weekend's games might be in peril. I do remember one time in college, it snowed, and they still, because Auburn was in town, already there. So they just decided, the guys can walk to the arena, so just play the game.
Yeah.
But there's nobody there because it was snow and all that, only students. And we tailgated outside of the arena. We bought Coke and Sprite bottles and poured half of them out and filled them up with whiskey and then stuck them in the snow to keep them cold. And that's how we tailgated a basketball game.
Yeah. Starkville PD just tweeted, better start preparing now, talking about late Friday afternoon, Friday evening. Conditions are going to start getting bad. So, all right.
Yeah.
I'll go to the grocery store early, and I'll get enough for Saturday. Oh, no, I may not be able to go to the hump to cover that game. Oh, no.
We'll talk some baseball when we come back.
From the Venom.
Come on. Are we going to do this? Back to Sports Talk, Mississippi.
Keep rolling. 3, 2, 1.
Super Talk, Mississippi.
We go to the Farm Bureau guest line, check out favorites.com, and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. For the first time this year, hopefully many times this year, Jacob Rudner joins us right now. He covers college baseball at the national level for Baseball America, and he's on your radio right now. Jacob, we started the show talking about college football in the context of Indiana's national championship and how the SEC has kind of lost its grip as the most dominating conference in the sport. In baseball, it has been the dominating conference at the top of the sport. Will it be that again in 2026?
It's a loaded question, guys, and I'm glad to be back to be able to discuss it with you. I think that on one hand, yes, the SEC will remain the dominant force in college baseball. There are 11 SEC teams ranked in our preseason top 25 over at Baseball America, which means by default that we expect the SEC to have the most opportunities to win the national championship. Our top 25 ideally is a reflection of who the last 25 teams standing will be. Our top 8 in a perfect world will be the 8 teams that are in Omaha, and we have 11 teams that are in that main contending group. So we believe that they will be the most dominant conference in baseball once again. They've won every national championship dating back to 2019. There's a reason for that. I do think that this is a year that could be a little bit unique because our number one team is UCLA out of now the Big Ten, which is still weird to say. Yeah. It's a great team in Westwood, California. They are the most experienced lineup in the country. They have the best player in the country as far as the MLB draft goes. And we do believe that they have the best chance to win the national championship. If you don't want to take my word for it, we pulled 54 college coaches prior to releasing our top 25. The majority of them also said that they believe UCLA has the best odds to win the national championship in 2026. So Do I think that the SEC has the best odds to remain dominant? Absolutely. That's been the case now for some time. But I do think that UCLA is uniquely positioned to maybe slow down the momentum of the best conference in college baseball.
You've got 6 teams from the SEC in your top 10 for the Baseball America preseason top 25, 11 total in the top 25. Of the top 10 teams, who's the one that you have the most questions about?
That's a great question. I think for me right now, at this exact second, it would probably be, let's go with TCU. And I would say TCU because the Horned Frogs look really good on paper, and their lineup is deep. It's an experienced group. Sawyer Strohsnyder, their outfielder, is in a really good position to go highly in the draft. He was outstanding last year, contended for our Freshman of the Year award. The Big 12, however, is not necessarily in that power conversation. They're going to fight for about 5 to 7 bids in the NCAA tournament. I do think that TCU has the chops to go far. Whether or not their competitiveness that will shine through in the Big 12 competes on the national stage is my biggest question, though. So I think that they have a lot of talent. How that looks when you start to face the big boys like LSU, UCLA, that to me is going to be a question mark. But I do think that's a really good group, just to be clear.
Looking at your poll, you have Southern Miss in at 23. What are your thoughts about the Golden Eagles going into this year?
Really good group that returns a nice little core offensively. I think Matthew Rousseau is a nice centerpiece for them. I had a conversation with Coach Ostrander, and he was telling me that Rousseau is kind of the heartbeat right now. They're looking to him as not only the statistical leader potentially, but as somebody who's going to be able to carry the group. There's a lot of good pieces around him. Davis Gillespie, Ben Higdon, Joey Urban are all guys who stood out to me when I was evaluating them. I think they did a good job being selective but effective in the transfer portal. Kyle Morrison fits really well in terms of the park factors, and I think that he should play reasonably well. Louisiana transfer Caleb Stelly looked good, even though he missed the fall last year. I think he'll be productive. And then on the mound, there are some familiar faces that I think are going to have to step up, but have shown the signs in the past of being able to be really good. Colby Allen has been, obviously, as you guys know, a force out of the bullpen. This year, the expectation is that he's going to be a starter. I think it's a transition he'll make well. And then whether or not there are some guys who step up behind him is the question. And Cross Sibley sounds like he might be the closer this year. I think that he has the stuff to start if they need him to. We'll see how that role goes either way. It's going to be important. McCarty English, I've heard, has a great arm and has kind of looked really good in the fall and the preseason against his own teammates. How that translates to outside competition will be big. But I like the pieces that they brought back. I think that they supplemented the group really well through the portal. And as you guys know, Southern Miss is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to competing inside their own conference and getting back into the tournament, fighting for a spot to host. All of that should be the case again this year.
Number 16 in your poll, the Ole Miss Rebels. Probably no more proven and battle-tested frontline ace in the conference than Hunter Elliott. What do the Rebels have around him that you like?
I love this offense. I think that experience really matters a lot in college baseball, and on top of that, age does too. Physical maturity, we've learned, especially in the last couple of years, can carry you very far and deep into the season, into Omaha, and kind of have you in that national title contention situation. I think Ole Miss fits that bill really well. Will Furness is obviously a huge piece to bring back. Judd Udemark, another one. Both of those guys were excellent for them last season. To have them for one more run is huge. But you look throughout the rest of the lineup, and there's similar older experience. Daniel Pasella was one of my favorite transfers in the country. Tristan Becerra, Aiden Federico are also guys who I think are going to be super effective. I can keep going down the list of my projected lineup for them. But I think that Ole Miss is kind of in a unique situation where it's juniors and seniors in every important starting role that you can imagine. That's exactly where you want to be in college baseball nowadays, and I think it'll serve them well.
And then at the near the top of the poll, Mississippi State coming in at number 3. My question to you would be, Jacob, how close were you to putting them number 1?
It was not that close, as much as it would feel like it because they're the number 3 team in the country. We did feel like UCLA and LSU were the clear number 1 and number 2. We had a huge debate about which of those two teams belonged in the number 1 spot. It literally came down to an hours-long conversation about whether or not we felt better about UCLA's returning experience or trying to ride this LSU historic wave. And then it was kind of a tear break right there, and Mississippi State leading that next group. So they were the clear number 3 for us, but we really do like the team. I mean, they did a great job in the transfer portal with Brian O'Connor coming in, realizing some new resources, bringing over some talented players from Virginia. And then filling in some gaps on that roster with talented players from elsewhere. Blake Beavis from Ball State last year hit 18 home runs. We expect him to take over at first base. We were very impressed by him. Drew Wires from Bryant over at shortstop seems like a really good fit for this team. And you can keep going down the list, but they also bring back some good guys. Ace Reese, I think, is a player of the year contender. Noah Sullivan showed a lot of talent last year on both sides of the ball. And then there's some others on the mound too. Ryan McPherson, Duke Stone, guys who I like a lot in terms of their raw stuff. And I'm excited to see if they convert it into ability in the season.
A question I've asked a couple of people in your industry is this. What would Tennessee be ranked if Tony Vitello was still there?
Great question. And I think that they would be reasonably close to where we have them right now. And I think that that's because I don't see a huge drop-off, ahead for them with Josh Elander at the top of the program. Elander has been with Tony Vitello every step of the way. He got there to Knoxville when Tony did. I think that he really knows the mechanics of how to make that Tennessee team click. Players fought very hard for him when the coaching change happened to be able to get the job. There was a lot of belief internally that he would allow them to not skip a beat. And so for me, it came down to where does the talent stack up? And in a very competitive and challenging SEC and a really good top of the nation just in general, even beyond it, we felt as though they weren't quite a top 10 team, but close. Maybe Tony Vitello gives them a little bit of a boost to like that 8, 9, 10 range. But we felt pretty good about their ranking regardless of who was the coach.
A couple minutes left with you here, Jacob. If I told you there's going to be a first-time national champion, a team that has not won it before, that walks off the field in Omaha the last game of the season, who would that team be?
I'd love to go back to this answer every season because it feels like the most natural fit for the question, but I cannot believe that Arkansas doesn't have a national championship yet.
They can't either, Jacob. They can't either.
Say it again?
They can't either.
Trust me, I know it. And I would say that that'll be my answer until they win one. They are such a good pitching development school. They've proven that over and over again. I think that they have the talent yet again to be extremely dominant on the mound. Gabe Gackle moves back into the Friday night spot. I do believe that this could be the year that he kind of takes it and holds it. Last year we saw him open in Fridays, move back to the bullpen. It was a little bit of a hodgepodge of roles. I think he'll stick with something this year and be really good at it. And then they bring back a lot of experience at the plate, too. So it's not just a pick out of reputation. I do think that they have the talent to do it. They're a top 10 team for us for a reason. But until they win one, that's an easy answer for me.
60 seconds left. Who's the best player in the SEC this year?
Ooh, good question. I think that there's a couple guys. You can take this answer a couple different ways. For me, just right now, based on what I've seen in person, I have to lean Liam Peterson, Florida's Friday night pitcher, purely because of the combination of draft talent and upside, but also because I think that he's just a great player on the college scale. He's got great stuff. We have him as our number one starting pitcher in the country going into 2026 as far as the draft goes. He's made some changes over the offseason that I've actually seen in person that look really productive to me. And so at the moment, I would say him, but there are a ton of other guys who I like, including somebody in your own state, Ace Reese, who I mentioned, I really believe is a player of the year contender for us and somebody who I think will help carry that lineup very far.
Jacob, you know darn well this will not be the last time you're on this show over the next 5 or 6 months, man. Really appreciate your time. Jacob Rudner, go ahead.
Looking forward to talking to you guys.
All right, Jacob Rudner, Baseball America. He joins us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. So Jacob with Baseball
Great
America.
Stuff there.
Oh, yeah. Jacob with Baseball America. The week before, we had the D1 baseball poll come out. There are some differences in that poll that I want to get into, specifically starting with Ole Miss. Ranked in one, not ranked in the other. Let's talk about that when we come back. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. Back in just a minute.
Come on, SuperTalk Mississippi. Check this out. Are you ready? Yeah. Sports Talk Mississippi.
"24 days, is that right, until first pitch?" And
should be correct.
I mean, it really wouldn't be the start of baseball season without Snowmageddon on its way.
I'm already dreading that first day. I guess I won't be there opening day because, well, it depends, right? First pitch is scheduled for 4 o'clock, so if that holds, I'll have to miss. But, being how the weather in this state works, that might end up being a noon first pitch, and I could make it out there for some of it. I'll definitely be there on Saturday for Game 2 of the Brian O'Connor era. So let me pull these polls up here. As we mentioned just a few minutes ago, Baseball America's poll came out on Monday, their top 25 poll. Last week it was the D1 baseball poll that came out. There's a few slight differences and there's some big differences in this poll. And for Mississippi State, it's a slight difference, right? It's Mississippi State's third in the Baseball America poll. They're fourth in the D1 baseball poll. So not a huge difference there. It's a massive difference for Ole Miss. And Ole Miss is number 16 in the Baseball America poll. They're unranked in the D1 baseball poll. I know we had Mark Etheridge on last week to talk about that. I got to side more with the Baseball America guys here. I think just having Hunter Elliott at the front of your rotation allows for a lot of leeway with your pitching staff, and they've got good hitters. And I just feel like saying that Ole Miss is a top 25 team. I don't feel like I'm speaking out of school there.
There's a lot of quality returning to that team. It's not like you're banking on a bunch of portal dudes from the whatever Patriot League to come in and help. It's a lot of names that have produced at this level. So I tend to agree. I think they should be ranked, although if you lose to a 4-seed in your home regional, I'd also kind of understand if people aren't just going to jump at you being a top 5 team or whatever.
Top 5, but
they should be ranked.
16th is totally reasonable.
It's more apt than not being ranked at all, no doubt.
Not a huge difference for Southern Mississippi either. 23rd in Baseball America, 20th in D1. Couple of big ones here. Texas, 3rd in D1, 8th in Baseball America.
That's a big drop.
That's the defending SEC champs. They bring back quite a bit. That's a surprising one. Auburn, 9th in D1, 5th in Baseball America. The 3rd highest rated SEC team.
Should we believe in Auburn that much? I know that they're good and all that, but
I've always said the same thing about Auburn is they are so up and down. They are a total roller coaster. So if they were good last year, they're probably going to be bad this year. And that's just how Butch has kind of had that program going. But they do have some good talent there for sure. Georgia is 6th in the Baseball America poll. They are 15th in the D1 poll. Found that's an interesting one. Arkansas 7th in D1, 10th in Baseball America. Here's something that's interesting. Talking about just kind of a different situation here. Kentucky is 18th in D1, unranked in Baseball America. But Oklahoma is 19th in Baseball America and unranked in D1. It's like
snip, snap.
Just put an SEC team in there. I don't care who you put.
One of them.
Yeah. It's Kentucky, fine. Oklahoma, fine.
At least in baseball, they've proven that they still deserve the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. A&M, 25th in D1, unranked in Baseball America.
Should they be?
I would not rank A&M after what happened last season. I would agree with Jacob on that one. After what happened last year, why do I believe in this team? They still bring back a lot of talent, don't get me wrong, but they were super talented last year too.
My kingdom for that exact thing happening to Tennessee this year. That would bring me just sports joy.
I get
Every
it.
time I look up and Tennessee loses a game, I will, and then they'll have one bad season and then act like they don't care about baseball anymore. That'll be the best part. They won't double
you're
down.
You're correct about that. If Tennessee starts to fall in baseball, they'll just move away from it. No question. But this year, I don't know. But that being said, it's so different too. Like with Elander, that guy's name has come up his name came up early in the Mississippi State search before it became pretty obvious State was going to go big game hunting.
And it would have been called a good hire.
If they had hired Elander, if they had never brought up O'Connor, and they're just like, look, we think this guy is the next guy, which, by the way, in retrospect, if State had done that, talk about crippling Tennessee. I don't know who they would have hired.
Yeah.
But I could see it. I mean, the A&M thing, Tennessee is like preseason. They're 13th in Baseball America. They are 14th in D1. Texas A&M was the consensus number 1 last year and didn't make the tournament. So we're not talking about, I mean, it's not a huge jump here to get to that point. So that's an interesting one there for sure. Who else from the SEC is worth it? Vanderbilt, 17th in D1, 23rd. Not a huge difference, I guess, there. By and large, most of these teams are sort of the same. Georgia Tech is 5th and 4th. North Carolina, there's a jump there. They're 11th in D1. They're 7th in Baseball America. I like to, I don't like, I shouldn't say I like, but the top 2 teams are clearly the top 2 teams because they're the top 2 teams in both bowls, UCLA and LSU.
Yeah.
UCLA, loaded team, LSU, reigning national champions.
Which means neither one is going to win the title, by the way.
Correct.
That's how baseball is.
That is absolutely correct. So, I mean, a lot going on here.
Andrew says, why don't I remember A&M last year? Give a quick recap. Their coach left.
Yeah, Schlossnagle left. They promoted their assistant coach the same way Tennessee did. They brought back a ton of guys from the national runner-up. They had lost 2 years ago. They lost to Tennessee in the national championship series. They brought back a bunch of guys, but they just fell apart. And they ended. Remember, Missouri was winless. They were 0-24 in conference play, I believe.
Yeah, and they took 2.
They took 2. No, did they take 2 or did they sweep?
Oh, did they sweep them?
I think they swept them.
Yeah.
I think they did.
They swept them.
They swept Texas A&M at the end of the season, and that killed the Aggies' postseason hopes. Texas A&M, I think they made the SEC tournament. They beat State in the first game, but that was it. And then they had some bad injuries. Grahovic got hurt early in the season. They had some issues, but no reason to be that bad. So. LSU, Marty from Portland. LSU only wins the title every other year. I mean, he's right. I think the paradigm might be shifting a little bit in the SEC. I feel a little buzz on that one. We'll see how it goes. I'll wait and see. The State UCLA games in Arlington will be interesting. Yeah, could potentially be number 1 versus number 2, depending on how that goes. State has a possibility of playing, I think, 2 or 3 series, assuming State does what they're supposed to do. They win the games they're supposed to win. But they could be number 1 versus number 2 when they play UCLA, and it could be again when they play LSU. Super Bulldog weekend is just ridiculous here in Starkville. LSU coming in for baseball, potential top 5 series, and the Starkville Derby that weekend. My goodness.
No spring game, though.
I don't know yet. They haven't said.
I hope we get spring games back.
I
like them.
We've been talking about that. I got to think with no portal window now.
You can actually...
You can have a game, and you can give your fans a little something there.
A little something.
I'm trying to figure out Saturday's schedule, though. I mean, the Derby's in the morning. I guess you go spring football at do you go spring football at 2 and baseball at 6? Or do you do it backwards?
So
do you go
generally, when
game?
Is the Derby? Generally,
it's usually done. If Alden wants to text me if he's listening, I think they're normally done by 1, though. It starts early. The call to post is at I believe 7 a.m.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you got to get out there early.
All right, so if it's done at 1,
do an hour later. You either do baseball or football, and then the other one at 6.
Yeah, no, you don't do the spring game at night. You do the game that counts at night.
It's LSU, Mississippi State. I mean, you're already having a Friday night game. A Saturday night LSU Mississippi State game.
Yeah,
that's theater.
Yeah, you have the spring game.
So that's Ole Miss double-decker weekend. Is that also Ole Miss baseball at home that weekend?
I do not know that answer
because Ole Miss Oxford's kind of done that recently, where they try to schedule these things off of baseball weekend so they can have another weekend.
Yep.
So that is April the 25th. They host Georgia.
Interesting.
And that's already set for a 1 p.m. first pitch on Saturday. Because I guess that makes sense, though, because you've got the concert downtown. You got to get people out of there.
Yeah, you don't want the game taking people away. You don't want to be going away from that. So that makes sense. How did you know that was the double-decker weekend?
Somebody mentioned it a couple weeks ago on the text line because we were talking about it. And they're like, that's double-decker week. So we have Super Bulldog weekend and double-decker weekend the same weekend.
April 24th and 25th, 2026.
Yeah,
there it is.
That's going to be a big weekend here in the great state of Mississippi. A lot of people up here in northeast Mississippi.
You know what's funny? Even weekends like that, It's actually nice to be here because nobody's here.
Yeah.
Nobody's here. You get restaurants. It's the highways and roads.
Like
there's fewer people here.
It's like that first week of or the first week after school lets out. There's no traffic on Highway 12 here in Starkville. You just go to the grocery store. There's nobody in there. It's fantastic.
There is sports news in the state of Mississippi. A player is leaving his top 10 team early. And no, his last name is not Kiffin. But we will... it's a fascinating story developing for Ole Miss golf. I'll tell you about it when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi. Don't go anywhere.
Let the broadcasting of the disturbed continue.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. Borkey and Hadad with you. News out of Ole Miss golf today, but it's interesting. Golf in college goes all year. They start in the fall, the championship, all that tournament, everything that comes with the postseason is in the spring. It's a year-long sport. And so, as you can imagine, they are halfway through the season at this point. That did not stop Ole Miss star and reigning national champion Michael Lasasso from ending his college career and joining Live Golf. It was announced first by Phil Mickelson's team called the High Flyers, because it's a serious sports league, that they were bringing on Michael Lasasso. And Ole Miss released a statement after that. This is from Chris Malloy. He said, while we had hoped that Michael would have been part of our run at an NCAA championship this spring, we respect his decision to begin his professional career. What he accomplished at Ole Miss will never be forgotten. He will forever be a Rebel great. Michael has a bright future ahead of him in professional golf, and we wish him nothing but the best. This means two things. One, this does mean that he is, in fact, leaving his team that is ranked number 10 in the country right now, by the way. They are definitely one of the teams that can compete for and win the national championship. Returned a bunch of guys, including him. They finished in the semifinal, Final Four, if you will, last year. He's leaving them to go join Live, which starts, I guess, next month. This also means that he is no longer invited to play in the Masters. He got the Masters invite for winning the national championship, but the Masters will not let a player qualify as an amateur and then participate as a pro. So if you get in based on the qualification as an amateur, you cannot then turn pro and keep that qualification. They have a separate criteria for amateurs, and if you change that status, you are no longer allowed to play in the Masters. So his invitation to the Masters is simply doesn't exist anymore. It will be revoked. He will not play. It's a fascinating discussion because when you were talking about Live, when it was guys like Brooks and Bryson, it was a debate to be had whether or not they should go because those guys have millions of dollars already in the bank, right? They've already established themselves. They've already won majors. There's a reason Scotty didn't go, and Rory didn't go, and Max Homa didn't go. All the guys that stayed because they had financial security, and also they believe in legacy and things like that. But it's easier for them to say no because they have a bunch of money. Mm-hmm. Michael Lasasso is guaranteed nothing as a professional golfer. Nothing. And as we've learned, if you're not a golf fan, but you know that Braden Thornberry won a national championship at Ole Miss, he hasn't broken through yet. He got his tour card, but he missed a bunch of cuts. Now he's back playing Korn Ferry. It is really hard to make it in professional golf. It's a true meritocracy. And winning a national championship gets you a few exemptions, gets you in the Masters, but it doesn't get you a spot on tour. He would have had nothing guaranteed to him. Live will guarantee him money. He has financial security. And there's a chance that he never would have broken through on tour. So I understand that perspective. It's, man, as a professional golfer, he played in some tour events and the U.S. Open, missed the cut at the U.S. Open, missed the cut in all but one of his tour events, and he had a scoring controversy here at the Sanderson. So that his dipping his toes into tour life didn't go well. There's a chance he never would have made it on tour. So he chose financial security. But on the flip side,
man, I just can't help but think that 30 years from now, he's going to be looking back and have never played Augusta and played in the Masters, I should say.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like, I probably should have done that.
And that's the flip side of this, Hadad, is the PGA Tour is letting live guys back, but only a very small, select few of them. It's a league that does not move the needle. It is not relevant. It has not grown. Nobody pays attention to it. Nobody cares. The only thing that's keeping it alive is Saudi Arabian government money. That's it. They've already lost Brooks. They're going to lose more. It's an irrelevant league. There is no path to the Masters through LIV, and there won't be. Unless you win a different major, which he won't qualify for. Financial security is very important, but there's a chance that he'll never get a tour start again. And I would bet a lot that he never gets the opportunity to play in the Masters again.
So
that is a very heavy decision to
Michael
make.
Michael Borkey, avid golfer. I put you in those shoes. What are you going to do?
I mean, it is.
You bet on yourself, or do you take the sure thing?
It is hard to say no to financial security in golf, but man, leaving your team, foregoing a Masters invite, I don't know if there's a price that you could put on the opportunity to play in the Masters. I don't know if there's a price you can put on that for me, but there is clearly for some. If we got some messages on this, we'll get to those. If not, we'll get to As the Portal Turns for your college football fix. We'll be back.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Here's more. Super Talk Mississippi.
Hour 3, Sports Talk Mississippi. A surprising number of messages have come in on the golf story, so stick on it for a little bit longer. Ole Miss's Michael Lasasso foregoing the rest of this season and his Masters invite to join LIV. Lucas says Lasasso joining LIV is a shock, not because he's leaving college, but because he's turning down the chance to play at the Masters. And then another one. While I understand money is life-changing, I do not know one person who watches LIV over PGA. There's no access to majors where legacies are built. A bunch of how much money questions. I don't know that answer. I know, without even having to be told what his number is, it is more money than what Braden Thornberry got. So you can use that as an example of, okay, I'm a former national champion. A former national champion from my school was on tour, and it didn't work for him.
I had a source reach out and tell me the number. I'll tell you off air. I was asked not to tell it on air.
Oh, it's the same source that reached out to me. I just didn't respond to him. I had other things to do here in the studio.
Well, that wasn't very nice of you. He was giving us great information.
I know. I'm going to respond. I just didn't. I was trying to put out a bunch of little fires in here.
I was trying to sound like I had important golf sources. You just ruined it for me, Borkey.
But it's a heck of a lot more than. I mean, there's no doubt. LIV overpays because they have Saudi money backing them, right? I mean, they overpay to try to buy relevance, and they haven't been able to buy relevance. Nobody cares about them, but money's green, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to go into his bank account the same way that our paychecks go into our bank accounts, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can understand why. It's a really hard decision. I mean, again, I would bet he never gets to play in the Masters. I would bet he never takes a PGA Tour start. And that matters to some people because some people have been faced with the exact same decision that he has made and done the opposite. maybe they have more sponsorship money or have a trust fund. I don't know. But others have made the opposite decision. It's just the money is green and it does hit your account. And in golf, more than any other sport, you are not guaranteed anything. Nothing. I mean, you've got quality players. Harry Higgs is having to go through Korn Ferry. He's a quality player. It's a meritocracy. And if you don't have it, if you can't cut it, you don't get paid. If Fernando Mendoza can't cut it in the NFL, buddy, he's going to have like $30 million to lean back on.
Yeah.
If Michael Asasso can't cut it on the PGA Tour, he won't make it to the PGA Tour. I mean, hell, you make cuts on the Korn Ferry Tour and you're lucky to break even after you pay your caddy and travel expenses. It's a tough life, so I get it. But it's a hard decision. I mean, turning down the Masters and the legacy of playing on the PGA Tour and leaving your top 10 team, that's a lot also to weigh on you. And think about what, Chris Malloy gave a very classy statement. I saw an interview that he did as well. That was class. Because he is. That's what he is. But what that would have meant for his program to have, and here's Michael Asasso, Ole Miss golf, qualified as the national champion on the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Neil Shipley became a star because of the Masters. And now Chris Malloy's program won't have that. And Michael Asasso won't have that. So, but I think that calling it like a black and white thing, like, oh, he's an idiot for going, or there would be no reason to not go, I think you're both wrong. You're sacrificing legacy for money. And that's okay. I sure need money right now. Boy, let me tell you what $10,000 would do for me, let alone $1 million, So I get it. It's a complicated thing. Liv will be dead in 2 years anyway.
You considered OnlyFans. You can make some decent cash there.
Man. 601-879-4395, the C Spire text line. But hey, it's 5 o'clock. It's portal season.
It's the College Football Fix. The College Football Fix is driven by your Mississippi Ford dealers. Built Ford Tough. The best-selling truck in America, the Ford F-150. That's been the best-selling truck in America for as long as old Brian Hadad's been walking the planet. So why don't you do yourself a favor? Drive one today at your Mississippi Ford dealers. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
All right, Hadad. I feel like the news isn't very newsy today, which is okay.
Yeah.
But there's still stuff to talk about.
Still very much on Jordan Seaton watch here in Starkville. I believe Lane Kiffin allowed him to escape his stranglehold today. All signs indicating that Seaton is leaning heavily towards committing to LSU at this point. We'll wait and see how it all turns out.
I bet it's because he got to meet the governor.
This is just another one of those things. We got Donald. You know what, Brian? You've always said you don't want to be involved in that. Let's just take that. But that's like, I really wish our legislators and governors and presidents would talk about some of the problems we have in this country, not college football time windows and meeting recruits. I'll just say that. Anyway, just waiting on that. Once that domino falls, I expect State to move swiftly to try to get another tackle because Javen James did, in fact, enter the transfer portal today. So as it stands right now, State doesn't have an experienced tackle, or very experienced tackle. Miles McVay has played some tackle in college, but they would definitely like to have some more experience there. The top candidate is a guy, and I'll learn how to pronounce his name correctly if he commits, but I think it's Brandon Sneh. You heard me right, Borkey. Sneh.
Sneh.
S-N-E-H. How would you pronounce it?
Sneh.
All right, so that's what we're going to go with.
Or unless is he Canadian?
Snee?
Sneh.
Sneh? Well, he's not Canadian. So he's a tackle from UAB. I visited State about a week ago. And it's just kind of just been, I think State's been holding him at arm's length, trying to see if they can get in the game with Seton. So we'll see how that all pans out. But for no new additions to Mississippi State's portal class, I don't know who else they would add at this point beyond trying to get a left tackle in.
So why is James entering the portal? Is it possibly hurt feelings that
it is exactly that. He just was disappointed to find out that State was trying to recruit over him. And so that's kind of a two-way street, right? Because if you think like that, I'm not sure I want you on my team. I want somebody who's willing to compete. There's nothing given in this life. But at the same time, you're Javen James, you're like, oh, so they're going to recruit over me, and they may not get that guy. I might as well get into the portal and at least see if I want to come back, I can get some more money out of it. That's just smart business. So it is what it is for State. They got to get somebody, though. They can't go into this season with that little experience at the tackle position.
It reminds me of a team I know needing an offensive tackle. I wonder what Devin Harper's thinking today.
Yeah.
I mean, he is from Louisiana, apparently grew up a Louisiana fan, but, I mean, he was going to slide right in and play offensive tackle for Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. He goes back home to LSU, and they're recruiting over him. You think there might be a tinge of regret there?
Probably. But at the same time, maybe they're telling him, like, we can move you to right tackle or something. I don't know. I don't know how any of this stuff works.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. For Ole Miss, the only incoming player today is a guy that you're familiar with, hey, Dad. Mm-hmm. Tony Mitchell, the safety from Mississippi State, is headed to Ole Miss. It was described to me earlier.
I'm interested to hear this description.
A high upside signing for a guy that you're not planning on starting. That's how it was described to me.
You got to get that guy in strength and conditioning. He put on about 40 pounds here at Mississippi State. He went from 210 to about 240, 250, trying to play safety. So unless you're going to move him to linebacker, you better run himself around the block a few times. He's better do something.
So what kind of? I mean, is he is he talented?
He's got talent, but man, to put on that kind of, it's one thing to put on some weight, right? But when you're putting on bad weight, think about a college football player. All the conditioning and all the practice and everything they do and how closely their nutrition is monitored. To put on that kind of weight is something. Like all that says is once practice is over and once the coaches have let you go, you're going to Taco Bell almost every night. I mean, you got to do something different there. So, surprising pickup for Ole Miss. I mean, I guess they need some depth. They feel like they can get that out of him.
They do need some depth, but again, maybe the person that described it to me was wrong, and they plan on starting him. But as it was described to me, is talent upside.
That would be a mistake.
Yeah. Talent upside that they don't expect to start.
Okay.
But I don't know. We'll see, I suppose. I think after a couple of portal ads a couple of weeks ago, I think the secondary has been done for a little while in terms of starters, and you're just kind of filling in spaces as needed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there's also an interesting there's two things portal-related that we will talk about when we come back as well. Sports Talk Mississippi, that's your college football fix, driven by Ford.
From the Venable.
Here comes more Sports Talk Mississippi.
You ready, guys?
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Say right now, hey Dad, that Mississippi State is in most desperate need for? You mentioned offensive tackle. What's the next one?
There's two positions: the left tackle and an edge rusher, somebody who can play that Sam spot in the Zach Arnett defense. And it is kind of disappointing from a Mississippi State perspective that They came into portal season. Those were clearly your top two needs. Your third was probably to get another corner on the other side of Kelly Jones. You did that. But they needed a left tackle who could play, and they needed an edge rusher who could play and that they, had proven production. And they have not gotten those to this point, and that is incredibly disappointing.
Still time, but players, simply running out of players to add at this point in the game. You do have a 5-day window now for Miami and Indiana players to get into the portal.
Some have gotten in today, including Fernando Mendoza's brother, Alberto, who's already signed with Georgia Tech.
Wow. Got to Atlanta. I mean, didn't even celebrate. Just must have gone straight to Atlanta to visit.
Well, there was an Ohio State guy whose transfer portal thing happened. Like the announcement was like 15 minutes after their game. I was like, this guy's not even on the bus yet. He's still in the shower transferring.
Man. Ole Miss's is offensive tackle. They need one. You got Terez Davis there. That helps. You got Curran from LSU, although I think they'd prefer him to play inside, but he played tackle this year. I don't know if it matters or not. There has been some very, very, and I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know. But you guys come on here to talk about, that's what we do. We just talk about sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying this is happening or anything. I think he's got a petition for eligibility. Mm-hmm. There are some people that have suggested that Miami offensive tackle Markel Bell is going to transfer to Ole Miss. I don't know if it's going to happen.
People suggest that Mississippi State as well. He is a Cleveland, Mississippi native.
He will command a lot of money, that's for sure.
Yeah. And if you're State and you miss on Seton, well, you got this money just laying around. Might as well do something.
Especially a guy like him who's a beast.
But he needs a waiver.
They think he's going to get one.
So his situation is he played 4 games his 1 year in junior college, which, they're going to try to say that deserves a medical red shirt or a red shirt year. So will that be successful? I don't know. I'm done trying to figure out what is a legitimate cause for eligibility at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nuts to follow. And by the way, speaking of eligibility, nothing new on the Trinidad thing, although in their filing, they have Ferris State on record saying that, he was definitely sick and all that. I mean, it seems like there's a possibility even that the NCAA lets them win on appeal as opposed to fighting it in court.
Okay.
We'll see.
I've been saying for weeks I fully expect him back in Oxford, which, by the way, let's sort of deviate for a second here. So,
I got one more thing.
Well, you do your thing.
Speaking of Miami and Indiana, one more thing.
Do your thing.
It was reported last night that Ole Miss is going to hire Miami tight ends coach Cody Woodiel, I believe is how you say his last name, Woodiel. And he is from Hernando, I believe, originally. So they have been. There's a reason that Pete Golding has not hired a tight ends coach yet. Sometimes 1 + 1 = 2, and there you go. So that's the other thing I wanted to bring up. I'm done now.
All right. So I mentioned earlier there's some preseason polls coming out, like CBS Sports on 3. It's just some. Call it aggregation, clickbait, whatever you want, right? But these polls are being done by people who know the sport of college football, right? So I think Ole Miss was 15th in the CBS Sports poll. I was surprised by that.
That is anticipating Trinidad, like the unknown at quarterback is because their write-up even talked about Deuce Knight and Trinidad being denied.
If Trinidad's back, that number jumps up by about 10 spots, I bet.
I think so.
I also saw a preseason Heisman thing. Now, it's one of these random online casinos, right? But Barrett Saleh tweeted it earlier, which, by the way, Barrett, you're out the game. Just stick to baseball. But Trinidad was not on it. Trinidad, it was not. There were no preseason Heisman odds for Trinidad. And I asked, I said, Vegas doesn't think he's coming back. I thought that was interesting. Now
he is presently ineligible to play at the present. So,
but, I mean, at the same time,
you can't put odds up for a guy that...
Sure you can. You're Vegas. You can do whatever you want.
Could, yeah. But you'd have to refund the money.
You never know. Some sucker might just forget he made the bet.
There's that.
It's worth trying out. I just thought that was interesting. And then also not on the list was Kewan Lacey. I was like, if I get Kewan Lacey at 50-1, I'll take that.
50-1's great odds for him.
Well, coming into, I guess he was only his second year, though. Like, Judkins probably didn't have great odds as a sophomore.
Probably not.
Yeah. If he had come back to Ole Miss as a junior.
And that team wasn't expected to be
If he had come back
good.
to the playoff team, the team that they thought was going to be the playoff team.
Would have been with him.
He might have been a 10-1, 12-1 kind of guy.
It would have been one with him.
Oh, no, there's zero question. They are 9th on the ESPN poll without Chambliss. I have not seen the ESPN one, so I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, they'll hover somewhere around there until there's clarity.
But yeah, you're telling me you're going to get Kewan and Chambliss back? That's a preseason top 5 team.
I mean, you saw it, right? I know Carson Beck threw the interception again, but veteran quarterbacks are the way in college football these days. Now, you got to, like, if you're State, you don't go try to replace what you've got with a veteran, right? You've got a super talented guy. You want him to become a veteran with you.
Right.
But if given the opportunity to go get a third-year guy in the portal or play your freshman, you probably go get the third-year guy in the portal.
What's Ole Miss going to do if Chambliss is denied?
Deuce Knight will be their quarterback.
They're just going to Deuce Knight. They're not.
They are operating under the assumption and the expectation that Trinidad will be their quarterback. I mean, they told recruits that's what they expect. Now, they know that they're...
Did they tell Caden Lee? Because he's talking about it like he doesn't know.
Again, we're just talking. I have not spoken to Caden Lee about this. This is just what I think could be happening here, okay?
Yeah.
I think they are using the uncertainty at quarterback as a soft landing to go to Missouri to play for Austin Simmons.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Probably am. You're going to have to enroll in classes before that decision is made from a legal perspective, I think. The goodbye note did not make any reference whatsoever to the possibility of returning to school. It was exclusively goodbye, and he even said, due to circumstances beyond my control. I think it's a soft landing cover for transferring within the SEC to an opponent of yours next year to play with Austin Simmons. And I don't blame him for, do your thing, man. Your receptions went way down this year.
Yeah. It's not a personal thing.
And the thing is, he communicated this the whole time with Ole Miss. Like it's all good. This has been handled very cleanly with him in particular. So there's no hard feelings. Or I'm sure, of course, Ole Miss wants to keep him.
Right.
But there's not.
Probably part of him would like to stay, but he wants to move on, and he feels like there's more in his favor to go out than there's to stay in.
Yeah,
that's all. I mean, I do believe we have a lot of mercenaries out there. There's no question about that, right? But there's probably a large chunk of these players who are like, man, I really like it here. I'd like to stay, but I just feel like there's a better opportunity out there for me. Or, like I said, man, it's like I just want to go play with my friend.
Yeah, he's my boy. They're going to pay me a lot. I'm going to get more catches there because...
Now, I'll be careful with that line of thinking because I bet Kevin Coleman had it too.
Well, yeah.
And he did not have more catches.
But again, Lee's catches were down, and, I mean, between Alexander and Gill, I mean, the Ole Miss is... So remember this time last season, kept talking about DeJon Stribling. Like, here's a guy that had bad quarterback play at his previous stop, but he's a stud. Just wait. I think Gill's going to be that guy for Ole Miss next year. Had bad quarterback play at Syracuse. His starter got hurt in week 3 or whatever. Big physical guy, was a late bloomer because he didn't focus on football only in high school, played all the other sports. Dude's going to be a stud, I think. But, yeah, when you handle a process cleanly, when you handle an exit like Caden Lee did, it's all good. It's fine, man. I mean, go do your thing. When you wait until the very last minute and let do the LSU thing, it's not going to go. It's not going to be received as favorably.
Not the same way, yeah. I hear you.
Sports Talk Mississippi. We'll be back.
Exciting news.
Brace yourself.
More Sports Talk Mississippi. Now.
Borkey and Hadad with you, Sports Talk Mississippi. So glad that you guys are with us in the Pearl River Resort studio. Snowmageddon on its way. Every new model I see looks worse and worse. We'll see. Indiana goes 16-0.
You think they're connected?
Possibly. They sent the Big Ten is taking over,
won.
And they're sending it.
It is the end of days.
Winter is coming. Going into last night, so LSU went 15-0 in 2019. That's everybody's thing now. That's the debate now, is which team was better.
Right.
LSU was 15-0. Their points per game offensively were 48. Indiana's 43. LSU won games by an average of 26.5 points. Indiana, 31.5. They both had the Heisman Trophy winner. Indiana obviously won last night, an extra game from LSU. And I'm seeing a lot of, Indiana couldn't keep up with the athletes that LSU had. Maybe not. If Indiana had the exact same players and the exact same results, but their uniform said Ohio State on it, would you be downplaying their ability?
I would say, what I would tell you of that is no. And I'm not downplaying this Indiana team. But now that I've watched the full season, the only time that LSU team really struggled was against an Alabama team that talent for talent was right there with them, right? I mean, that game has more NFL players in it, I think, than any other game that's ever been played. And even then, I don't necessarily know that they struggled in that game. They were leading by 2 touchdowns when Alabama got a late score and made it a little bit more interesting. If you made me pick today, and I've watched all the games now, I would tell you that LSU team would win. But it would not be a massacre by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that LSU team, top to bottom, has more talent on it than does. Yeah. I mean, let's play the, if they play on a neutral field, all I got to do is coach and quarterback, right? Coaching advantage is big to Indiana. But quarterback, I would take Burrow over Mendoza.
Yeah, I agree. I know there's no room for nuance in sports debate anymore. It's, LSU better, and if you don't agree, you don't know ball. I don't like the idea that...
It's because their name is Indiana. It's
exactly it.
Yeah.
I mean, they were flat out dominant. They beat Alabama and Oregon like a drum, man.
Yeah.
Just whooped them in every way imaginable. And to be so dismissive of their ability because LSU had a couple of NFL wide receivers, so does Ohio State. Shut them down. So does Alabama. Shut them down. Mount Rushmore of greatest teams of all time, though, do they belong on that at least?
Yeah.
Modern history, anyway.
Don't they have to? Hey, what is modern history? Tell me where my starting point is.
Where should the starting point be?
I'm asking you. Where do you want me to start the starting point? You want to start in the college football playoff era? They're clearly going to be on there.
Clearly on there in the playoff era.
Going to go all the way back to the BCS era?
That starts in 97?
98 is the first year of that. I mean...
What about the television era?
Well, now, I don't know. Got some Oklahoma teams in the 70s, Notre Dame teams, USC teams. Some Miami teams in the 90s. If you go back to the BCS era, the easy ones to put in there are 2001 in Miami and 2019 LSU. I feel like you got to put maybe. I'm trying to think what Alabama team would I put in there? I don't know.
Somebody says I'd take the 15-0 Georgia defense over both of those teams. Here's my follow-up question, though. Why? Why would you take that Georgia defense over? Look at what Indiana did defensively. Look at who they shut down. Because Georgia has players that that play in the NFL, Indiana hasn't been afforded that opportunity yet. All those guys are still wearing college uniforms. Why is Georgia's defense better than this one? Aside from, they're Georgia.
Yeah.
Helmet bias is real.
Yeah.
It is real.
I'm trying to think of who, a team that I just remember this dominating every game. Alabama did that for the most part, but which one stands out to me?
And
2011 team was awesome, but they lost to LSU in the regular season. 2012 team was awesome. They lost to Texas A&M in the regular season. The 2020 team the 2020 team would have beaten 10 SEC or 11 SEC teams, and then they beat who did they beat in the national championship? Was it Clemson? I don't remember. I don't know. But Indiana is obviously, if there's an S tier, we'll put it that way. If we're going to tier them, they've got to be in there. And I do agree. It's helmet bias. It's if everything that just happened to Indiana had happened to Ohio State, everybody's cool with the discussion.
Yep.
Because it's Indiana, you have pushback on it.
The Cignetti Mississippi State conversation won't go away. Thanks, Twitter, for that.
I'm going to double. I'm 99.9% positive that's not right. But
what do you mean? What's not right?
That he didn't interview at Mississippi State.
He was never on a hot board of yours.
No.
But somebody says, since we found out that Mississippi State had spoken with Cignetti before hiring
Have
Levy,
we found that out?
We have not. Twitter's just talking now.
I'm going to do my best.
But
to find out.
I like this question. Do we think Cignetti would have been as successful at Mississippi State as he is Indiana? I think at this point, no matter where he went, he would have figured it out and won at the highest level.
Yeah. I don't know if State would be – I'm not trying to say State would be the national champions today had that happened, but they wouldn't have gone 5-7 last year either.
Agreed completely. He is the type that I think could win, relatively speaking, right? He's not going to Akron and winning a title at Akron because nobody can. And I mean nobody can. Nobody's winning a national championship at Akron. It's not happening. He could have gone to basically every Power 4 school and turned them into a contender in the same way he did at Indiana. Because, again, it's not money. They didn't do it on money. They did it on finding veteran players and then preparation and all the coaching stuff. But it's not like they didn't just go buy a roster. They didn't get the governor to move political donations around to buy a roster. It's just a process. And age. Age helps.
Doesn't hurt. And people are concerned about that. I really do think it's going to start tapering back down to normal now that all the COVID years are starting to wear away, right? So there shouldn't be a lot of these 23, 24-year-olds left. They've got to be aging out at this point. If they're not, I don't know what to tell you.
You still do need to target older guys. I think that's clear.
But that becomes targeting 21 and 22-year-olds.
Yes.
Maybe the occasional 23-year-old.
Yeah, you get a guy with an early birthday or I guess it would be late birthday. Early birthday. Early birthday.
Yeah, very early.
And a redshirt year. 601-879-4395. The text line, somebody says, LSU beat Love, Hurts, Lawrence, and Tua. Much better resume than this Indiana team.
Well, I mean,
you know what they've become.
We're saying that, though, and we don't know what those guys are. Yeah, we don't know what Simpson and Sayin and Bryce, I don't know if they played Michigan this year, but we don't know what anybody is right now. So, I mean, yeah.
They beat next year's possible number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
What do you think Julian Sayin's going to be? Ty Simpson's going to go in the first round out of necessity, more or less. But, yeah, they had to do that, too. Most of their team is 2 years older. It makes a huge difference. Why do you think BYU is always decent, even with players who never get a sniff at the NFL?
It's true. A lot of times they have men out there and not boys.
Mm-hmm. And I did see a really good point made this morning. Yeah, Indiana's a roster filled with 3-stars, but a 22-year-old isn't a 3-star anymore.
Yeah.
He has developed. So it's not exactly fair to put what he was at 17 on him either. But anyway. One more time with you when we come back. Text us on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Wrapping up the show with you on a Tuesday. Stick with us.
From the Venable Glass Traffic Center, we continue to see delays 475 south at 468. Also, Highway 18 eastbound at 468 for light congestion northbound 55 at County Line, and it gets a bit heavier from between 463 and Gluckstadt. Trust your heavy haul transportation needs to Southeastern Services. With years of experience hauling and operating heavy equipment, you can trust their team to handle your job with confidence. Southeastern Services, where trust meets the road. Call 601-292-9932.
In Mississippi, with our ever-changing weather, termites and household pests can disrupt your family life and take a toll on your home. Family Termite understands that these economic times are hard on everybody. To help you and your family out, we're offering flexible payment plans. Call Family Termite and let us help protect your home. 601-933-1014. 601-933-1014. Or reach us at www.family-termite.com.
Hear that? Start with your bank first, but if that doesn't work, there's an alternative. At Alternative Financing Services, we work with over 200 nationwide lenders, helping all credit types, even bank turndowns. With SBA and non-SBA options, we finance all types of business loans, including commercial real estate, business acquisitions, equipment, or working capital. Visit AlternativeFinancingServices.com or call Scott Mansell at 601-750-0919. That's 601-750-0919. Alternative Financing Services, your solution when the bank says no.
Hi, this is Mark Shapley, Shapley's Restaurant. Looking to elevate your next celebration or business dinner? Discover private dining at Shapley's Restaurant, where Mississippi's finest steaks and seafood meet impeccable service in an intimate upscale setting. Whether it's a corporate event, birthday, or special occasion, Shapley's private room offers the perfect blend of comfort, class, and cuisine. Make it unforgettable. Make it Shapley's. And we've also received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence 3 years in a row. Visit mmshapleys.com today.
America's 250th anniversary celebration is right around the corner, and it's the perfect time to show your patriotic pride. A Complete Flag Source is proud to offer the official American 250 flags, honoring the historic milestone in our nation's history. These premium flags make a meaningful addition to homes, businesses, and community events. Join the celebration and display America's spirit with the official collector's item, America 250 flags from A Complete Flag Source. America's 250th anniversary flags make the thoughtful and meaningful gift for anyone who loves history, tradition, and patriotic pride. Stop by A Complete Flag Source today to get your official America 250 celebration flag.
Running a business is tough. If you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. Many businesses just don't have the resources to keep up. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. We provide a full range of employer services with everything from payroll to benefits to HR services and compliance, and can create a custom plan that fits your needs and budget. We're a Mississippi-based company that can help you focus on what you do best, growing your business. Call MWG Employer Services today at 601-206-7966 or go to MWGEmployerServices.com.
This Valentine's Day at Pearl River Resort, join Grammy-nominated stars Jamie O'Neal and Ty Herndon for one unforgettable night live at the Silver Star Convention Center, February 14th. Bring your sweetheart or make it a night out with friends. Just don't miss the hits and the heart live on stage. Tickets on sale now at PearlRiverResort.com.
Find out what's happening across your state. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi. Mississippi now.
Got Auburn and Ole Miss coming up from the Pavilion here in a couple of hours. As we said earlier, just a big opportunity for Ole Miss. You've won 3 in a row. You've gotten people interested again. Now you need to make that count. And you got to protect home floor. If you're going to play your way into meaningful basketball, you got to protect your home court, especially, albeit a good, talented Auburn team, a winnable game. And you don't have much margin for error. You've got some, but not a whole lot, and the schedule doesn't get any easier. So, big opportunity for a pretty hot basketball team right now. So hot right now.
Appreciate Ole Miss playing on a Tuesday and not preempting Thunder and Lightning live. That's very nice of them.
Somebody's asking any Forelli news, which is the linebacker.
Right, and I pay attention.
I know, but for those in the audience that don't know who that is, he's the linebacker from Cal that has Luke Forelli, that transferred to Clemson, enrolled in classes, reportedly has not signed did not sign an agreement with Clemson that would be binding, and has reportedly, although nobody's announced it officially, decided to go to Ole Miss instead of Clemson. As I understand it, you don't have to re-enter the portal. Like he didn't have to go back into the portal to go to Ole Miss. His name was still in there or something, and it wasn't closed. I don't know. But everybody around Ole Miss is talking about it as if it's business as usual. Yeah, like he's in town. He's on the team. They just have to work through a couple of things to make that officially official. People on the Clemson side have talked about legal stuff and how they want to get the courts involved. Well, probably got an indication of how that would go today as Duke tried to sue Darian Mensah, their quarterback, and force him to stay at Duke. He signed a deal, and apparently a judge today decided, no, they have to let you enter the transfer portal. How the money is figured out, you have to deal with that. But in terms of the ability to go to a different school, his contract does not say that he has to stay at your school no matter what. I would assume that would be a similar situation here, especially without a contract at all.
Yeah.
You can't force a regular student to stay at a school he doesn't want to stay in. Can't do it. So I don't know what Clemson's legal recourse would be, but that's what they're talking about over there, is trying to get a judge to block a player that's never taken a snap from them from going to a different school.
That doesn't seem like it's going to work.
I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, if you call me crazy, I don't know. I'm frightened by your laws. I'm just an unfrozen caveman, but I don't know how that's going to work.
What about Seton? The latest is LSU is trending, but Miami and Oregon have not given up.
The last thing that came from Pete Nakos on 3 said Mississippi State not viewed as a likely choice. So, moving on to the next. Unfortunately, moving on to the next is a very limited number.
I mean, what you do, right, is you try to get James back on board.
Try to get him back on board. You also need to try to get that UAB kid on board as well.
Well, who's he down to? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
But he's out there.
He's out there. Visited State. See how it goes.
I mean, I know it's apples to oranges, different players and all that stuff, but Ole Miss brought in a UAB lineman last offseason, and he ended up working out just fine. Delano Townsend. That worked.
It did. That's a guy that if he had stayed in the portal, I wish State would have made a move on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
What an interesting time. It's almost done. I think the portal thing is almost done.
Well, it ends February 1, right? So we've got 11 more days, but, I mean, you're just running out of legit options. So it'll be interesting to see who the Miami and the Indiana players that go in are, but you're just running out of legit options. You know, if you're a fan of a group of 6 program, there's still plenty of players out there for you. But guys who could play at this level, that number is very limited right this second.
Yes, it is. So we will see. Anything on Markel Bell to Ole Miss? He has got to enter the portal first. Somebody asked us earlier, I thought the portal was done. As long as you made your intentions to your institution known on Friday before midnight, it could be a text message. Just, hey, I want to enter the portal. They have until, I guess, midnight today to put you in. Mm-hmm. So there's still a couple that are trickling in. Miami and Indiana players have 5 days to enter. I guess it sounds like some Ole Miss players and coaches have followed him on social media. I haven't checked myself because I refuse to follow players on social media. It's just one of the things that I won't do.
Good call.
But apparently that's happening. I refuse to check. And so we'll see. If it's going to move, it'll happen fast, though. We'll be back tomorrow at 3. Talk basketball, anything that comes up in the portal. Probably do some more baseball previews as well. Thank you guys for making our show a part of your day. We'll see you tomorrow at 3. Good night.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.